Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the whole damn channel, and just jingle that bell for notifications to keep updated. We are sports, we are lifestyle, we're everything in between. And we got through the Zurich Classic in New Orleans, the team event. Ben Griffin, Andrew Novak won that one. We'll cover that a little bit in the news. Niblick will cover all the news in the world of golf leading into the CJ Cup Byron Nelson in McKinney, Texas. Let's hit it. Oh, baby, we made it. We are not in Nolans anymore. We're going to Texas back for the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. Jake Parry back. Connor Coughlin on assignment today. Jake Parry, special hour for us. I mean, you're in the central time zone, I believe. I'm here in the sunshine of California. Shout out NorCal. It's 75 and sunny out here. It's 7 o'clock. So all you on the East Coast staying up late to watch this, we appreciate you. It's got to be a battle. I hope you don't have a case of the Mondays anymore after clicking this link here. Jake, how we feeling tonight?
We're feeling good. I've got 3 straight weeks of winners. It was 85 today and sunny, a little windy, 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. Glad I'm not playing in that. Hopefully
windy in Chicago.
Oh, I know. What a surprise.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm doing this. I got 36 holes to play tomorrow.
Oh, baby.
Softball starts up right after that for me. It's a busy week, but hey, I'm here for the fun.
You're staying busy. You're staying active. And I had a little windy excursion on Friday at the YOLO Flyers Club here. It's a private club, member guest. One of my buddies invited me out there, and lo and behold, it was clear and it was overcast and cool and very windy. And I had myself an adventure throwing away strokes left and right. So now I'm drinking for the show, just lamenting on my misfortune on the golf course where I was hitting the ball so well that I was actually angry at how my score turned out. So here's to you, Jake, much better golfer than I. I'm drinking Field of Dreams, which is made from the corn of the world's most famous cornfield in Iowa. Not heaven, heaven's NorCal, Iowa.
What you're drinking is a lot cooler than what I got. I have a nice little
Diet
Dr. Pepper over here.
Hey, that is a daily workhorse. Diet Dr. Pepper is flames.
Diet Dr. Pepper, if you guys are hearing this, sponsor your boys.
Yeah. Hashtag not a sponsor yet. Jake, we have a lot of news to cover here in the world of golf. We are being we are being recorded and syndicated, and you can catch us right now on 101.5 FM, talking West Tennessee. Shout out Memphis, all my guys there at Pollard's Barbecue, Tony Pollard's family in Memphis, Tennessee. I hope you're listening to this. Shout out West Tennessee. They're gonna get a taste for winning at golf betting. Let's cover the news in the world of golf with the news Niblick and jump right in.
Let's do it.
Right off the top, Jake, 3 wins in a row outright for you and Connor Coughlin. Good job, you guys, on a hot streak, a heater, as they call it. And you never walk away from the table when you're on a heater.
You can't do it.
Andrew Novak of South Carolina fame, and of course, who is his player and partner?
Ben Griffin.
Ben Griffin with the Max Fly Tour X ball. First great Max Fly winner on tour in a bajillion years. Probably not since the 80s. The North Carolina, South Carolina crush in the Crescent City at Nolans. They were going ham in best ball in rounds 1 and 3, 62-61. That was fantastic. They held their own in alternate shot, which is kind of the point of winning that tournament is you have to go super duper low in best ball because the conditions were ripe, and then alternate shot. Don't throw away strokes. Don't put your playing partner in a bad spot. They were pretty close to losing it, and with certain shots getting very close to penalty areas, but they pulled it off over two of the teams that I had touted that I did cash on placement bets. But take me through your thought process with Novak and Griffin and what they did to win that tournament.
Yeah, so a lot of my process was focusing less on specific skill sets of players and just focusing a little bit more heavily on, yes, guys who have played here, whether it's with their partner or not, and done pretty well, but also just guys that were literally, it was a vibes event. I was completely picking off of vibes. I like Andrew Novak. I like Ben Griffin. They seemed like a good team. They had the Carolinas, being in their back pocket right there. It was one of those plays. Like if you look at the rest of my plays, like some of them certainly didn't pan out. Like I picked Kevin Kisner and Grayson Sigg because they were neighbors. JT Poston, and I'm blanking on his partner now, but they're neighbors as well. I literally wrote in my article, imagine the stories they're going to tell at the block party.
In their rocking chairs as grandparents. Novak, I liked. Connor mentioned Novak and Griffin last week, obviously as a play. And I was saying that was the Hansel pick because they're so hot right now. Both those guys playing incredible golf this season. It just made sense, and I didn't really think of it that much. I was maybe thinking a little bit more in terms of upside, best ball dynamos, and of course they shot better at best ball than anybody else when they were kind of the boring pick in my opinion. But how about Team NorCal, 100-1 odds on their outright, and they come out and shoot a tournament record 58 on Thursday. Isaiah Salinda, Kevin Velo.
Dude, that is crazy.
The Bay Boys, they're both rookies on the PGA Tour. They go out there and shoot a 58 that could have been a 54. They kind of hit the skids on the back nine and even parred the par 5 18th on Thursday. And they kind of struggled in alternate shot, which it's youth. It's not planning their way around, but they went super duper low on Thursday. And that was a lot of fun to cash 3 tickets for placement bets on what I hoped was just going to make the cut. That was fun for me. And then, of course, Team Stanford, shout out NorCal, with Thor Bjornsson and Phillips. Those two guys are the future of golf. They're so talented, and they very nearly pulled it off. But kudos to you and Connor at the Vibes tournament.
I'll take a Vibes win. So, all the analysis we put into this, if a Vibes win is what gets me there, I also 100% bet the Hoge guards off of the vibes of them being twins. I bet them top 10, that cash too.
Twins. And the Paul twins from Germany, who were also they were also in contention for most of the week. It was a vibes tournament, and I think we have 2 more on the docket, including this week's CJ Cup Byron Nelson. But did you see the? I can't believe we had the Chevron Championship in the LPGA Tour. I have to cover this because it was wild. 5-woman playoff at the Chevron. And nobody wanted to win it.
Nobody wanted to win. It was almost like
par 5 18th. Everybody's going for the green in 2. They have a damn grandstand right behind the green for no reason other than it's great vibes in the gallery, I guess. And we had Arya Jatanagarn in the fringe, on the fringe in 2, and of course hits the Duff chip, and she makes par. And then you had one of the Kims, I can't remember which Kim it was, Kim 6 or 7, that had Kyoju Kim goes for it in 2 and hits the perfect approach shot on over the water. She couldn't have carried it any shorter. It would have been in the hazard. But she carries the perfect distance, just above the hole, straight downhill, 3 putts for par. And she had the closest eagle putt that you could possibly have on the hole. And it was a win for the Japanese woman. I can't remember her name. It's Mao
Saigo.
Mao Saigo. She ended up birdieing the hole and was the only woman on the par 5 that made a birdie on the first playoff hole. What is your reaction to the carnage that we saw on a very gettable par 5?
Dude, I don't know what it is, but I swear some of the times you watch, these are people who are playing every single week for millions of dollars. They constantly have this immense amount of pressure on them. And we see them crumble all the time. We see it on the PGA Tour. We see it on the Korn
Every
Ferry
level.
Tour. Like
Competitive golf is just different.
I'm thinking back to the Brian Campbell, Audric Pike Eater playoff, where I was like, both of them, like I could hit a better drive blindfolded than both of them hit it in the first playoff. And I was like, okay, is this really what's going to happen?
What about Rory on 13 at Augusta, or Rory on 18, but not on the 72nd hole at Augusta with a gap wedge, pushes it 20 yards right into the bunker. It's like all you needed was a damn par, Roars.
Like you have this, it just makes no sense, especially when you know that like in a 5-person playoff, if you see 2 other people put themselves in terrible spots, just play the safe shot. Get your birdie and ensure you're going to the next hole. Like we don't
at
have
that point.
Go for
at that point, it literally is match play. You are trying to stay alive and win this damn thing.
It's simply don't be the worst player on this hole. Like that's all you really have to do when you watch 3 or 4 other bad shots in front of you, and then you see the 5th person mess it up too, and you're like, all right, what are we doing here?
Somebody win this damn thing. And I'll give myself a pat on the back for that for that caption. The third story is a record -9 36-hole cut on the Korn Ferry Tour. That should tell you everything you need to know about how much better professional touring golfers are than your club professional or your best scratch golfer at your club. These guys shot. If you shot 68-68, you missed the cut at the Korn Ferry Tour tournament. And of course it was Jimmy who took down the tournament. Blades Brown, 17-year-old Blades Brown, very nearly won it after shooting a 61 earlier in the week. Great tournament, but unbelievable scoring.
Yeah, it gives vibes of earlier this year where I think it was Max Homa after the Century. He's like, I guess 66s aren't good anymore.
They're
like
not.
some of these courses, and it's Texas Rangers Golf Club. Like it's not an easy course by any means. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter, 7,000 yards, par 71. But like you look at it, it's just going to show you how talented, like you said, the up and coming players in the golf world are. So you have Blades Brown, for example, who's in the top there. Mac Meisner's brother Mitchell in the top 10 there. James Nicholas. Everybody probably knows him from flying there, having to borrow shoes from the pro shop and a glove from the pro shop and clubs from the pro shop.
Well, yeah,
it's in a tournament.
Notorious airlines destroying everything if they don't lose it.
Well, that wasn't even the case. He was like the 13th alternate going into the week. And then like 2 days before he was like the 7th alternate. And he was like, all right, I'll fly out there. And then it was like, hey, get here now. And he pulled up to the course. His tee time was in like 10 minutes. Didn't even get to warm
up. He wasn't ready.
But yeah, it's crazy how talented the game of golf is getting, especially after I feel like we did kind of go through a bit of a lull where it was like the high end guys were really good. So like Jordan Spieth, really good, really young. Justin Thomas, really good and young. But we'd have like a couple of those guys at a time. But there's legitimately 10 guys, I think, who aren't even on the PGA Tour yet, who we're going to see get one, if not multiple wins once they're on tour in their rookie season.
Yep, it's absolutely true. And I think a couple of those have made appearances on the PGA Tour already.
Right.
Pearson Coody is one of them that I got my eye on because he's positioned to make the PGA Tour card again next year. What do you say we wax poetic about maybe one of the most boring golf courses on the PGA Tour, TPC Craig Ranch in McKinney, Texas. I promise to keep this one pretty quick because there's not much remarkable about this golf course other than these guys are going to make a lot of birdies.
Yep. Hey, we're going to make it sound pretty though.
Yes. Caddie notes coming right up. All right. This is the final leg of the Texas swing that we started a few weeks ago. The formerly the what was the previous sponsor? Charles Schwab, Byron Nelson. Now we got the CJ Cup, which is a Korean sponsor. Lots of money in the food industry. CJ Cup, obviously known for BBGO frozen dumplings and good stuff from Korea. Great food in the freezer aisle, especially at Costco. Great value. But they're sponsoring the Byron Nelson, obviously an iconic PGA Tour event. Last 4 seasons they've played here at TPC Craig Ranch. Zoysia fairways, bent grass greens, 7,500-ish yards, par 71. Very wide fairways, very few hazards. The wind is not expected to be much of an issue at all. There are thunderstorms in the forecast, but is there anything stopping this field from obliterating this golf course again? The average winning score is like 24 under par.
Yeah, it kind of is just an amalgamation of all TPC courses. Like you get a lot of the same hole layouts that we've already seen this year. The same kind of, there's no defense. Okay, maybe nope, just kidding. That wasn't actually defense. Yeah. You can clear that bunker without trying. Like it's a very attackable course, and that's the reason it's such a birdie fest every year.
Oh, yeah. And the biggest greens by square footage on the PGA Tour, gigantic greens, kind of flat too. So you're looking at 3/4 of the field hitting the greens. 75% is very high. I wish the greens that I played the last few weeks were that big because my numbers would be a lot better. These guys, it's going to turn into a glorified putting contest, in my opinion, a lot like the American Express and La Quinta. If you have some driving distance, you have a slight advantage because, of course, your proximity is going to be better supported with a shorter club in hand on approach. But it's just a hot putter and guys that are just good at converting birdie opportunities when they're given them. They're going to get lots of them on this golf course.
Yeah, it's all about the attack game for me. Pretty consistently, one of the 2 highest stats in terms of importance over tour average: shots gained off the tee, and specifically driving accuracy. Distance, because of how the field is and the tour being so long, distance doesn't get you much, except for the fact it makes the approach shot easier. So that's where I'm looking at good drives gained a little bit more this week, just because for those who don't know, it includes shots gained off the drive, but it also includes the approach shot that you can hit afterwards, and basically determines a good drive gain from that baseline there. But if you can do that, if you're a good iron player from 150 out, you're going to score well here. And if your putter, the crazy thing is it is a glorified putting contest because most of the players stand pretty around neutral in terms of the other statistics here. But at the same time, this isn't one of those tour events where you have to gain like 4 or 5 strokes with your putter to win. You just have to if you can gain a stroke over the 4 rounds with the putter, you're probably fine.
Well, yeah. Prior winners like Ben On, notoriously bad putter, but great driver and iron player. And then, of course, 2-time champion KH Lee, the Panda, won here back-to-back, notoriously for being great off the tee and not the best putter, but again, caught fire. Or these bent grass greens are pretty predictable. They're very flat. They're very true. They're in great shape. That's one thing about this golf course that I do appreciate is that they always say that TPC Craig Ranch is one of the best conditioned golf courses on the PGA Tour. And that also lends to better scoring conditions because there's no mystery. It's not like you have to worry about the Poana greens getting crusty and bumpy in the afternoon. These suckers are going to be perfect throughout the day. And it's just going to be completely green flag racing to steal from the racing sector of this channel. Green flag racing all the way through 4 days.
When you just get Zoysia bent as your 2 grass types, it's going to be just fine. And you can't forget the rough is Bermuda. So you get a bit of everything.
A little snarly.
But if you're in the rough consistently at this course, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's
like your average hack could stay in the fairway on most of these holes.
Yeah, I mean these fairways are wide enough. They probably need a cart at Walmart. That's how wide they are.
They should put the wide load signs on the golf.
Yeah, the blinking lights and everything.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say we bet on some golf, and for you and Connor, let's win for the 4th week in a row. Seems good. Good.
If it works, it works. That's all I'm saying.
Let's hit it. you add a couple Texans at the top of this odds board.
Just a couple of them.
Some guy named Scott Scheffler from Dallas.
Who's that fella?
Yeah,
I ain't never heard of him.
Plus 280. No thanks.
Yeah, I'm good.
Especially with his history at this golf course. Not the greatest. He's the best golfer in the world. We don't dispute that. But at this golf course, everybody's kind of in play. This is the great neutralizer. Right. And if you're talking about a glorified putting contest, I think I want the guy who's better than, let's check the notes here, 63rd in putting. And if you extend it to courses that have more than 7,500 yards in length, he's 146th in this field in putting. That's not great.
Yeah, the last time he played here, if he just was average with his putter, he probably would have won.
Yeah.
He was tied 5th in his last start here, losing strokes, not only in general losing strokes, but losing strokes against the entire field with the putter, and only lost minus 0.1 true strokes gained on the week with the putter. Like if he had made like one extra putt, he would have been in such serious contention here.
It's wild how much putting matters here in a way, but then at the same time, it's about capitalizing on opportunities. He didn't hit it he hasn't hit it close here before, and that's his game. I think there's something. Jake, now be honest. Can Scotty Scheffler win the CJ Cup Byron Nelson?
Scotty Scheffler can win any golf tournament at any course in the world.
So it is possible.
Of course. It's just not a bet I'm willing to make because there's just not a lot of benefit to it.
One guy that's getting a lot of run is fellow Dallas native Texan Jordan Spieth, plus 1,800, second favorite going out. Any love for Jordan Spieth? I mean, he's as erratic off the tee as it gets. He's the one guy I do see finding the rough on this golf course, but he's so good at everything else that especially making birdies. This guy is a birdie making machine, has been his whole career. Jordan Spieth is getting a lot of love, and I'm just saying, I'm looking at this field going, I'm just going to keep dropping down until I find a good value.
Agreed. Yeah, it's, the only time he's struggled here was last year, 2024, missed the cut at this event. That was mostly because the putter was bad. The irons are bad. The irons are still very up and down. The putter's been a lot better, in his last 4, 5, 6 starts, pretty consistently gaining strokes with it. But again, like you said, it's just, there's so many better values to be had. There's so many players that make more sense for the return. To get a valuable return at his current price, it's just not worth the investment. Now, if he starts to fall into the 22 to 25 range, I'm starting to get a little more interested. But at current price, I just can't justify it.
Yeah. One guy I am justifying, who's opened at plus 2,500 and has slipped to plus 3,000, is the Canadian. Shout out to our Canadian watchers out there, Royal Slade and the like. Taylor Pendrith. Shh, keep it down. Taylor Pendrith is perfect for this golf course. He's also the defending champion of the Byron Nelson. I wonder why. Is it because he's a really good driver of the golf ball and an amazing putter? Is that why, Jake?
Yeah, considering he was dead neutral on strokes gained on approach last year, he won it with everything else. So I wonder if it was the fact that he gained, he was nearly 20% better than the field distance-wise off the tee, 5% better accuracy-wise off the tee, and just didn't really do anything poorly. If you can make long putts, which he can do, he can get ice cold with his putter. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we saw him at the Arnold Palmer lose 2.3 strokes in 2 rounds because he didn't make the cut. It can get cold there. But again, you don't need it to be super hot. You just need it to not be awful. And
to be fair, Bay Hills greens are way better, way tougher than these ones.
Hey, don't disrespect TPC Craig Ranch like that, okay? That's the pride of north of Dallas, all right? No, we can disrespect it. Yeah, it's not. It's a completely different level of play that we're talking about here. But yeah, I mean, Pendrith, he's on a bit of a cold streak overall. If you look at his performances, especially comparing it to how he ended 2024 and started 2025. But if you go back to 2024 when he won this, he had a 9th place finish at the Farmers and then missed the cut, made it, only got 36, missed the cut, 11th, and then he won. So this is a guy who can get hot, and he's playing.
All or nothing, baby.
Yeah, and I'm down at the current price is all I'll say.
Oh yeah, plus 3,000, and his opening line with Scotty in the field was plus 2,500. Now his odds to win without Scotty Scheffler in the consideration, you can get that on DraftKings Sportsbook at plus 2,500 without Scotty Scheffler. So there's a little bit of value baked in there too, because if I'm getting the same odds opening as I am without Scotty, who I really don't even think he's going to win this tournament this week either. I also like your pick here in this favorites range. And going back to North Carolina, of course,
we gotta bring him up again. We just talked about him a little bit earlier. It's Ben Griffin. Again, just another guy. He's played here twice, played really well here.
So hot right now.
Actually lost strokes off the tee, but that's been one of his better parts of his game really since October of last year. Is only 2 tournaments where he's lost strokes off the tee. He's also been picking up distance comparatively to the field, which is something that's really, again, going to matter here. But solid enough ball striker, solid enough around the green, solid putter. He's got the all-around game that it takes to win an event like this. And at plus 3,500, it's just one of those numbers that it's like, yeah, I'm going to sprinkle on it. I have to.
Yeah, out of all the stats I weighed, his worst stats were in the middle of this pack. So his approach game is outstanding. His strokes gained overall are outstanding. He's just a good scorer. He's been picking up distance, like you said, going from kind of the shorter hitter category to now be middle of the pack. That's going to be good enough here, just fine.
Exactly. It's, you don't have to be a bomber to win here. It just helps. Yeah. So if you can be tour average distance wise, you're just fine.
You don't need shoes to run a marathon, but they do help.
Yeah, exactly. Great analogy.
Let's head to the mid-priced categories. Anything outside of 40 to 1. I'm going to go back to the well with Michael Thorbjornsen, Stanford product. I keep calling him the future of golf, along with Carl Phillips. Those two, all the Stanford products the last few years have just been amazing talents. Thorbjornsen is the guy who does have the distance off the tee to make a big difference here on his approach distances compared to the field. He can gain strokes off the tee here on this illustrious field. 70 to 1, he opened at 65 and he slipped. At first I had him and Isaiah Salinda, shout out NorCal, kind of as co-bets at that number. But when he slipped to 70, I didn't need to bet on Salinda because he stayed at 65. That was about the shortest I was willing to bet my guy Isaiah Salinda. Right. As great of a birdie maker as he is, as great as he is off the tee, not the best putter, not the best short game. And if there's a guy who can go all or nothing and miss this cut by 5 shots or win it, it would be Salinda. I just thought that Thorbjornsen, a little bit more talent, a little bit more of that upside. I have him at 70 to 1 now, and I'm skipped right over your guy at 50 to 1. Tell me about Jacob Bridgman, because he did pop up in my model too.
Yeah. So it mostly boils down to the fact, I think putting yourself in good positions off the tee is going to matter a lot this week, and being solid with the putter. He's been very, very strong with the putter over the last 7 events that he's played in. With the worst event, he was still gaining strokes on the field there, multiple approaching 2 strokes gained against the field with the putter, strokes gained at Zurich with the putter, strokes gained at RBC with the putter, strokes gained off the tee in all of those fields as well. Where it's going to come down, it's going to matter most for him is going to be the approach game. Everything else in his game has stayed pretty consistent so far this year. It's just the iron play, the ball striking that we've seen kind of juggle up and down a bit. And so where I'm leaning into, albeit very little course history here. He did miss the cut when he played here last year, but on approach, he was really good. He just happened to pick the wrong week to struggle with the 2 strongest parts of his game in the putter and off the tee. I don't think we see that again. And he's a guy who's shown us that upside this year. He's got a 3rd place finish. He tied for 2nd at Cognizant. Like, he's got the upside to get that win. It's just going to be putting it all together for 4 rounds.
So here's my collection of stats for Jacob Bridgman. Number 4 in this field in strokes gained putting over his last 24 rounds. Number 2 in total strokes gained over the last 24 rounds. And numero 1 in birdies or better gained over the last 24 rounds. That seems good.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah.
Those are kind of 3 of my favorite stats.
Seems like, and those are the 3 most heavily weighted stats in my model, hence why he's number 4 in my model.
There we go.
It seems good. 50-1 was a little short for my liking, but if we do see a slip down to 60-1, I'm going to be hammering Jacob Bridgman just like you are.
Agreed. Yeah, I would have been nicer to be a little bit lower, but I found a couple other guys that were a little bit lower that I felt comfortable, being able to sprinkle kind of a little through all of them.
Yeah, and one of them being Taylor Moore, and another Canadian. Man, they're everywhere.
I'm just rocking the Canadians this week.
Hey, I love Pendrith. Pendrith is great.
Yeah. When it comes to the other Taylor from Canada and Taylor Moore, he's not from Canada. I don't think. I actually do think he's American, but yeah. He feels like a Canadian golfer.
He's got to be a Canadian now.
But
he's moving there now.
Again, it's just a guy who kind of fits the course really well in terms of what he does well, especially recently. Been strong off the tee, been strong kind of in every facet of the game. The results haven't lined up with it specifically. I do think Wyndham kind of dragged him down a little bit this past week at Zurich, because if you look at just his numbers, they're really good. But the approach game's been there, and what he struggled with, again, last time he played here was the putter, which has been one of his stronger clubs over the last calendar year all in. So I think that was more of a fluke. He definitely found something in the past 7-8 events, call it 7 events, with the putter, where, he lost a bunch at the Farmers, and then ever since then, pretty consistently he's gained strokes with the putter. So again, I think it's a bit of a right place, right time call here. He's been playing relatively well, even if the results haven't lined up for him. And this is an event where anybody who can play pretty consistent golf can come out and win.
So you're going to love this. Taylor Moore is from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, yeah. I knew that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, who I was thinking of. It wasn't Pendrith, but it was another Canadian that I'm mixing him up with. But yeah, born in San Angelo, Texas, with residences in Dallas and Edmond, Oklahoma.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Red River rivalry in his own family, I guess.
Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. Property in Oklahoma, probably pretty affordable.
Yeah. Gary Woodland is in this field as of right now. He did withdraw from last week's Zurich Classic and made us look at Jason Duffner on the golf course again. Thanks for that, Gary. We love Gary Woodland on the show. Inspiration to everyone who's watched Full Swing and know about his travails on the tour, as well as in just his personal life. He's been an amazing ambassador to the game for in a number of ways. But 80-1 for a guy who A, hits the ball a ton, B, is great from the 200 plus bucket that we're going to see a lot of approach shots from on this golf course. And he's just a great birdie maker. This guy might blow up on courses with a lot of treachery and hazards, but this is not that golf course. So Gary Woodland, stay healthy, my friend. We need you to stay in this field so I can get you an 80-1 and win the tournament and inspire some more people.
I will say, if he wins, I'm going to cry happy tears. Like,
Me
that's
too.
how great a guy Gary seems to be.
Guarantee it. I'm going to cry happy tears.
I'll be balling. But yeah, it's a guy who just plays solid, consistent golf. He can put himself in bad situations. It's really hard to do that here. And when you don't put yourself in bad situations, he's a guy that is truly a threat any given week. It's kind of the antithesis of Will Zalatoris in that way. Like, you give Zalatoris a course like this, and he's like, I don't know what to do. And then you put Zalatoris at Augusta, and he's like, I got this.
Dialed in.
Yeah, it makes no sense. But Gary is a guy, like, just steady golfer. He'll get out there and play. You're going to get what you're going to get. It's usually pretty decent golf. But this is the course where pretty decent golf can get you $1 million.
Yeah, which we like. Did you talk about Austin Eckroat? Yeah, because I need you to explain that pick, because I'm not on Austin Eckroat at all.
Yeah, he's been playing like garbage this year. I'll admit that.
Understatement of the century.
In his last, 8 tournaments, only 3 made cuts. But hey, the vibes worked last week, so I have to throw a vibe check in this week. Last time he played here was 2023. He tied for second. Is that going to matter? I don't know. Probably not.
You don't know.
But I have to have
75-1 seems okay.
Yeah, I've done worse things with $3. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, and that is a nice little segue into none of these bets are getting very aggressive turns. I mean, there's one guy I'm pretty aggressive on this week we haven't covered yet, but most of this is a pretty modest investment on the betting slips because it's another vibes tournament. Where the analysis isn't quite as strong or not getting as strong of correlations from course history or course comps because they're really not anything like TPC Craig Ranch on tour, where you get this free for all of scoring, unabated scoring from the whole field. We might see a -9 cut just like on the Korn Ferry Tour last year. Doubtful. It would probably be around 5 or 6 under par, but it just seems like anybody in this field could push the top of this leaderboard, and that means everyone.
Yeah, this is very much like your average weekend golfer. Like, it's a spray and pray approach. We're not putting too much investment into it. We're spraying nitros around. We're not bringing the Pro V1s out.
No,
these are low investment but high upside play.
I have a 180 carryover water, and I'm pulling the K-Sig out of the bag and putting the Pro V1X back in.
Yeah, exactly. This is, I don't want to lose this ball today.
No.
The mud ball I found 2 holes ago that weighs 6 extra ounces because it's been baking in mud for 3 years. That's what I'm hitting here. It's the
scuffed up the noodle that I found in the woods on the previous hole.
The golf ball that may or may not have been run over by the course lawnmower. That's
the one with the big gash across it, like Scar from The Lion King. Longshots. This is a nice fun area to play with on this type of vibes event. There's lots of long shots we can sprinkle investments on, $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. I'm gonna go right out there and say I'm gonna bet the latter, and that means outright top 5, top 10, top 20 on the future of golf. Aussie Carl Phillips, shout out Stanford. Phillips, of course, won the Puerto Rico Open a few weeks ago. Extremely talented player. He's going out at 110 to 1 after opening at 100 to 1. I'm getting his top 10 odds at plus 800, his top 20 at plus 350. It seems like extreme value for a PGA Tour winner who's also the future of golf.
When Tiger Woods decides to make you the first person he endorses,
named Tiger Woods.
Probably a pretty good sign. Yeah, dude's an absolute stick, just comes out, plays good golf. A lot like Tiger in a lot of ways, like puts himself in some weird shot, like with weird approach shots, but he's got that vision of if he puts himself in a bad shot, he's already imagined what he's going to do out of that lie. So he's like, okay, worst case scenario, I'm going to put this in the trees to the right, but I know exactly what I'm going to hit if I do that before he even gets up to the ball and sees the lie. Like that level of thinking ahead on the golf course. So he's 100% a guy who I could see come through and win it all. And I was going to put him on my list as well. I saw him on your list, so I didn't double dip there, but I'm double dipping.
It's going to kill you to agree with me on this show. I just know it.
I'm starting to feel like Connor. I feel like I have to disagree a little bit. But
the people listening, they want a little bit of conflict. I know that it pays the bills. It keeps the lights on. Jake, you're a turd for not backing me up on the Aussie legend, Carl Phillips.
Hey, you know what? Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Ziggy,
zaggy, oi, oi, oi. You are on another guy at 110 to 1, a guy who very nearly won a few weeks ago. And he's looks like me, but he's from South Africa. Aldrich, the beef master, pot geeter.
You want to talk about future golf? Not even 21 years old.
That dude mashes the ball.
Absolute masher. Quite literally, Valero gained nearly 40% on the field in driving distance.
He destroys the golf ball.
Just absolutely murders it. Never played here before. Obviously, being a young guy. Doesn't have a ton of experience.
Nope.
But we've seen the upside. We've seen the putter get hot, like in Mexico when he came in second at the Mexico Open, 2.2 true strokes gained with the putter. We've seen him do the exact same thing with the driver, gain just incredible amounts of strokes on the field. He can lose where he loses strokes with the driver is accuracy. He's inaccurate to say the least, as most guys who are 21 swinging out of their shoes every time are. We have the tendency to just spray it out there and hope. And then we get dialed in a little bit and we gain 3 strokes on everybody else with the driver and we walk away with a ring.
Or if you have 50-yard wide fairways like here, where you can hit it 350 carry and it keeps going through the fairway, or light rough at worst.
If I could find a prop bet this week that was a drive over 400 yards, I would take it.
Yeah, there's some mashers in this field like Christo Lamprecht, which he's not a good bet this week because he can't hit approach shots. But that is also Potgieter's weakness is on approach. He's not great. He's a decent putter. He's a really good birdie maker because of his prowess off the tee. He's putting himself in a lot of scoring positions, but he could be a lot better getting the ball close on approach. With how many short irons this guy faces on a daily basis, you would think he'd have better proximity numbers, but they're abysmal.
Yeah. It's, again, it's one of those things where they are really bad, but when they're good, they're really good. Like when he's feeling it, he's killing it on the approach game. I think if he can just stay neutral on the approach and the putter, I honestly think he can gain enough with the driver and put himself in enough positions to make those birdies, potentially make eagles, that he's going to luck into a few of them. I feel less comfortable betting a sizable amount on him outright. It's plus 11,000. Like we're talking about a long shot here, but he feels like a fun sweat for a make the cut bet. The one where I'm like, okay, I'm nervous. I'm probably more nervous than he is if he's going to make the cut or not. I've got like $4 on it.
He's the trunk slam of all trunk slams, but he also could win it. So that's a fun vibes bet as well for this type of tournament where you're going to see these guys just unleash driver. And Potgieter's appointment television when he's on the tee with the big stick. I'm going
40% on the field with your driving distance. Insane.
Yeah, his ball speed averages 192, which is like when Rory goes after a drive, he's at 188 to 190. This guy averages 192 ball speed. It's insanity.
Yeah, I wanted to look it up real quick because the PGA Tour actually tracks club head speed now. There's one person on the entire PGA Tour who has higher club head speed than him. His average club head speed is 125.9. The only person with higher club head speed,
Chris Goddard.
Nope. Nicholas Norgard.
Okay. Yeah.
But hey, you want to go back to a guy you did talk about?
Christo.
Guess who's tied with Aldrich?
Christo Lamprecht.
Gary Woodland.
Gary, my guy.
Gary is letting it rip this year.
Yeah. Gary's a strong dude. I know where he's from. He's from Topeka, Kansas.
Attaboy.
Yeah. I got Hayden Springer at plus 11,000 as well. Just a birdie making machine out there. He gets a little squirrely. He's not the longest hitter, but he makes a lot of birdies. So I just thought, hey, let's go with a guy who might shoot 30 under par this week and go with it, because Hayden Springer can at least, he's got the upside. I just don't know if he's got the experience.
There's no floor. There is no floor.
None.
With the upside.
Yes, the upside is so enticing. It tastes so good on your lips.
For our fantasy football friends, he is the Kadarius Toney of this tournament.
Oh no, I think Tony's got very little upside.
I'm okay. Back to Tony's draft class. High upside guy.
Yeah.
No floor.
Yeah, I guess so. Oof. Yeah, that's the guy I thought was the worst first round pick of all time. So
he's up there.
I'm going to finish up. Do you have anybody outside of 110? I know you have Potgieter here, but you're not going to dabble too much in the deep waters here.
There were a couple names that drew a little bit of interest. John Pock is one of the guys who, kind of, a little bit intriguing down in that range. I can't remember if Matteo Manacero was also kind of down in that range as well, but he's another guy who I think he is one of those guys that it's like, it's not if, it's when he's going to win on tour, because the guy just absolutely kills it, consistently plays really, really well over on the DP World Tour. We just haven't yet seen that translate over to here. But he's another guy who I'm never going to feel bad about sprinkling a little on him.
Yeah. I think if you're looking for the deepest shot, I do have a card with Chris Ventura at 200-1, another talented young player. But watch out for this guy. I touted him a couple months ago, earlier in the season, and he withdrew before the tournament started. I haven't said his name since, but I'm going to say it now just because he's a super duper long shot and he's got lots of talent, and that is Norman Zhang. Xiong. Norman Zhang, great ball striker. Not the greatest on approach, but he's a birdie making machine. 25th in this field in birdies, 22nd in driving distance, and 34th in putting. These are all good stats. The only weakness I've seen is his stroke gain on approach is 126, which might not matter here if he does everything else right.
I think we touted him on the same week because I had to go back in and edit my article after publishing and take him off because he would.
What a jerk!
Jerk.
We don't know what the circumstance was, Norman. But we do apologize, but we need you to stay in the field this week.
Yeah. I mean, if you want a true vibes play, Kevin Kisner literally has the farthest odds on tour. Throw a quarter on him. If he hits, you win. It's 1,500 to 1. So do some quick math there. It's what, like a $300 win if he wins
a quarter
on it.
Yeah,
I'll sprinkle.
Yeah, you can't even find a payphone to put that quarter in these days.
Exactly. What am I going to do with a quarter? It does get my shopping carts at Aldi. That's all it's got for me.
And Kevin Kisner probably has a payphone near him right now. He's that old.
Hey, biggest vibes guy on tour.
Yes, he is. Well, placement props, I went over Phillips ladder. That's the only kind of the placement that I'm going to really be heavy on. Obviously, Thor Bjornsson and Woodland are going to get some top 20 action from me too. And Pendrith, I'll throw in a top 5 because I think he's good for it. But Phillips, the full ladder, I think that he's just a great fit for this course and tournament. Were you going to throw some more on Taylor Moore?
I am. Yeah, it's at plus 280 for a top 20 out of him. Again, I think a guy who lines up really well for this course. Those are the types of top 20s I like to sprinkle a little bit. You know, again, if I got to bet at plus 280, either Taylor Moore to get top 20 or Scotty Scheffler to win at the same exact odds, I'm going to take Taylor Moore to get the top 20 because this is a field I think
that's a numbers game, especially now that you know he's from Dallas.
Oh, yeah. He's probably played this course 1,000 times. Maybe this is one of his home courses.
I would hope not.
Yeah, probably not. I feel like he's got better choices out there.
Yeah, Dallas is the whole Dallas area is just littered with great golf courses, and I don't know why this event's still here. But anyway, full card review. I got Pendrith or Bjornsson, Woodland, the whole ladder on Phillips, Hayden Springer, Chris Ventura. You look like go ahead, go through with yours, Griffin and.
Yep. So I've got Ben Griffin, Jacob Bridgman, Taylor Moore, Austin Eckroat, Carl Phillips, and Aldrich Potgieter, with also throwing in that Taylor Moore top 20 at plus 280.
All right. So now that we have a couple minutes left in the show, I want you to say who's your winner gonna be, like you're manifesting the win, and what the final score is gonna be.
If I got a manifest here, I'm gonna go Jacob Bridgman. Winning score is going to be 29 under.
Oh, we're going crazy. Let's go.
You told me there's no wind. If wind's not forecast, and in
5
Texas,
to 15
no
is
wind, we're scoring.
Oh, we're scoring. I will say Carl Phillips because I need that ladder win. I had a ladder win on Phillips earlier in the year. We're doing another ladder win in the state of Texas. And I say 27 under, which is obviously great scoring since 24-25 is the average here. 27 under, 29 under for you. You have any first round leader bets? Any leans?
Honestly,
Keith Mitchell withdrew, so all bets are off.
Yeah, I was gonna say the door's wide open there. Let's see. First round leader. I'm going to throw a real wild card out here.
All right, here we go.
Seamus Power.
The Irishman.
First round leader. I don't know why. I was scrolling through the field here, and that name is standing out.
He puts the lights out. That
he does. Doesn't do a whole lot else well. But
yeah,
when the putter's hot, it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty decent with the wedges, too. Give him some. He played well here. 3 top 20 finishes and 4 starts.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some upside.
And I was going to throw out my first round leader bet was going to be on Jacob Bridgman.
Yes.
Yeah.
We win.
All right. Well, next week, Jake, you might be able to join us. If not, it'll be Connor and I again for the Truist Championship. It's sponsored by Truist, which also sponsors the Atlanta Braves Stadium. and it's a signature event at the Philly Cricket Club. They're going to play golf at a cricket club
on the Wissahickon course. We get to say Wissahickon. Wissahickon. We get to say that a bunch of times.
Yeah. If it's Wissahickon, that's what the geese were doing. All right. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to Memphis and all of West Tennessee out there for listening in, as well as our regulars, all you Canadian loonies out there. Join us next week for the Truist Classic from Philly Cricket Club. I'm Bo McBrayer. That is Jake Parry. Thanks again.